Hello and welcome to the next how-to video about our trace and trend option in eDESIGN. I'm Joanna and I'm very happy to guide you through the video. eDESIGN provides two types of chart views, a trend and a trace chart. The trend diagram is a view that shows the history of formal values in a chart. The trace chart shows online values which are currently present on a connected PLC. But first we have a look at the trace. We start by creating a new page. Then we add a container that meets our needs. If you have a fixed screen size, I would use the static container. Otherwise you can choose either the flexible container, where the orientation is more precise, or the resizable container, where you can determine the position manually. Then insert a trace diagram from the toolbar. You can set the title, add default properties for the x-axis, choose a label, for example, label X, and add the maximum number of points you want for a single trace. I recommend something around 1000, but you can play around with the value until you get the right result. The number of points influences the performance of the chart. Optionally, you can choose an output format. This is a default set to hours, minutes, and seconds. So if you're happy with that, you don't need to set anything. For deeper explanation of the format settings, you can visit the website eDESIGN-doc. I'll put the link in the description below. For the y-axis, you need to set a label again. Determine the y-axis minimum, for example -55, and the y-axis maximum. I'll take 55. You can decide if and where you want to show your legend. On the top, left, bottom or right. And of course, how you want to arrange them. Now we come to the important part, connecting the diagram with the PLC. First, you have to download the latest library from the eDESIGN-doc website. I'll put the links below. The eDESIGN library contains a CODESYS project, which we now look at in CODESYS. When you open the CODESYS example project, you'll find the trace PRG under O2_trending folder. Open the program and have a look what is happening inside. Here we have more settings of the trace, which, if they are present, will extend your settings from the editor. In the init section, between line 1 and 18, you'll find the code that will be executed once and will initialize the trace. There you'll find how to initialize scales and how to initialize datasets. Additionally, you find a set value and set delta method there, which serves for settings and values of the trace. For more information, please refer the library documentation in the Library Manager. Also notice that the Trend PRG program is triggered by a task named Trending and Task Configuration. The interval of the task is set to 1000 milliseconds. To expose the mygraph function block to eDESIGN, you need to check the symbol configuration and tick all necessary checkboxes. After you rebuild and downloaded the newest code to the PLC, you can run the program. Now you should be able to connect mygraph variables in connection settings. Before, make sure that the connection to the PLC is set up and refresh the connection. This will load changes in the variable tree provided by the symbol configuration. In addition, you have visibility properties, which I'll explain in another video, but basically you can decide who's able to see the widget. Hopefully everything is right, and we'll have a look at the front end to see if our trace diagram is working. As you can see now, our live values are changing. Of course, you can also hide some of them. Now let's have a look at our trend diagram. Here we have an overview of the diagram in the front end and back end area. Therefore, we go into the menu bar and go to Trends. Set a name of the chart. Again, set an x-axis label and format. And choose the alignment of the legend. Then you have some options for the toolbar. I'll show you this by opening a second window. The interval selection is a shortcut to help you select more quickly which period of time you want to display data from. If this button is activated, you can export the current view. With this, you can export the entire data in order to analyze it in Excel, for example. I personally would rather leave this button hidden. This allows you to delete the entire data with the push of a button, so you better leave it out to prevent mistakes. Let's have a look at the interpolation. You can leave it off, but then too many points are often calculated, which means that the page has to load for a longer time to draw all the points. Therefore, I recommend the setting of an interpolation maximum. For example, 20,000 is a saving of points. You're still very accurate, and the page is much faster. The interpolation type determines which method of interpolation will be used. Reduce, of course, reduces all the points down to the limit. Average and median will make intervals in the points array and make average or median values for the intervals. Then you can set some labels for the y-axis and datasets. Datasets should always be pinned to an y-axis. If you hit the Save button, the trend definition will be created. For coding the CODESYS part, you can use the Generate Code button. Click on it, and eDESIGN will prepare you the code that needs to be inserted into CODESYS. All variables are generated based on the current trend settings, so you don't have to write them yourself. Now take a look at CODESYS. Here we have adapted the code for simulation purposes. Casted codes have two parts as it's usual in CODESYS. Move the declaration part to the top and leave the code part in the bottom window. Now fill missing placeholder with proper values. In the CODESYS example project, you can also find trend.png, where the code is being executed. In this case, we used random generated values to fill the datasets. Notice also the maximum number of records in the init method. This will tell your trend function block instance what is the maximum number of points. When this number is reached, the database will start removing the oldest records by replacing them with the newest ones. It behaves like a ring buffer. Let's see if this is working now. And as you see, you have now a history overview of monitored values. You can play with the intervals and hit the Show button to see the values. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't hesitate to write a comment below if you have questions, and I'd be very happy if you give us a like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video. Bye!